What's up, everybody? We're doing a pop-up live here. That's all the platforms. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're going to figure out this Instagram thing. We're going live over there too. But today we're going to be having a conversation about the power of clarity and vision, why that matters for you and your business, why that's so important, what the effects are when you don't have that. And I've got a friend of mine so have a conversation with me. We're going to talk about it and get into all those things about clarity and vision as well. So if you're first time over here watching us live, I want to make sure you're checking everything out. So like us, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, like, and follow us here on Facebook or LinkedIn. And so you can catch all this great content as well. Drop a comment in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, you're watching it on Facebook, you're watching it on YouTube, let us know where you're checking it out so we can track the audience and make sure that we're giving you the value in that particular place as well. All right. My name is Frederick Douglass Bussey. I'm the founder of Icon Status. We work with brands and entrepreneurs to scale their businesses to seven figures and beyond. And if you are in that space, you're in the right place because we're going to have a conversation that's going to deal with what you need to know to help you to continue to grow your business and make this the best year of your business ever. All right. That being said, let's go to work. So a quick intro. I met this gentleman through our platform, StreamYard platform, collaborations. And we had a conversation last week that really resonated with me. I thought it was going to be valuable that we could bring it to our audience here. And so I wanted to share with all of you as well, let you guys kind of get in on the secret. I think it's got a really great story as well. Some powerful things to be able to share. And so why not be able to expand on that conversation and allow you to be able to have it as well. So I'm going to welcome in my friend, Timothy Moore, the Clarity Doctor. Timothy, how are you today?
Man, I'm great. I'm great. Glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm so glad we could do this. You are hailing all the way from the west side of the country. And I'm on the east side.
I'm not that far west. I'm more Midwest.
Well, you guys call it Midwest, but everything for us across the Mississippi is west.
Okay. Well, there it is. Yeah. Okay. There it is. We west there.
The west end, the west side. But
yeah.
That being said, man, I want to welcome you to the show and welcome to well, it's not really a show, it's a live. We're doing this live because I want to have a conversation with you, kind of expanding on the conversation that we had last week. But first of all, before we get into all of that, tell people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and give us a little bit of context so we can understand how you're going to contribute to this conversation.
Absolutely. So again, my name is Timothy Moore, coming from the great state of Nebraska, where the infamous Warren Buffett currently resides and has always resided, home of the world's first largest zoo in the world, the Henry Doherty Zoo, even bigger than the one in China. I don't know, it may not still be the biggest. Yep, I'm born and raised in Omaha, spent some time in the military overseas. The youngest of four kids. I started my business about 6 years ago, and we talked about that story. My mom and dad, they got a divorce when I was 8, and I spent most of my life in a space where I was full of blame. I blamed his absence on my failures. So if he would have been around, then this or that, it wouldn't have happened. And that shifted when he passed away a few years back. And I'm, looking at him in his casket, and tears are falling. I'm trying to figure out, why am I crying? And then I realized I'm crying because I had no one else to blame. He was my excuse. He was a crutch. And so now once he's in the casket, I'm realizing, I spent all that time blaming him when the power was always on me to direct my life. So I let him go, and I kept hearing God say, write the vision, make it plain, so when you read it, you can run. And I knew about vision statements, but I didn't have one. So I sat down, I wrote myself a vision statement. I committed it to memory. I, thought about it all day. I thought about it at night. I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And then my life just started to just turn. The whole trajectory, feelings, emotions. I felt more powerful. I felt more positive. I felt more focused. Discipline just came through that experience. I said, you know what? I think other people need this. And so I started a business where I write vision statements for other people. So now I started Vision Writers USA, which is the recognized global leader in the creation of vision statements that inspire and facilitate community growth. And they dubbed me the Clarity Doctor, making sure that you have the clarity to succeed. And I just been doing it ever since, man. Just making sure businesses, entrepreneurs, I do it for couples, sitting down and helping them write a clear, concise, and compelling vision statement. That's it.
Now, doctors are known for, first of all, being able to diagnose the problem. So let's talk about why this is a problem. If this was a disease or an ailment that entrepreneurs, I mean, really anybody, but specifically because our audience is business owners, right? Why is this such a prevalent problem for business owners?
Oh man, it's not having clarity and not having a written vision statement. So one of the things is there's the receptors in our body, the sensory receptors. Over 70% of our sensory perceptors or receptors are geared around making sure that we can recognize light. So hearing more than touch, more than taste, our body is designed to pick up light so that we're able to see. So if 70%, over 70% of our receptors are based off of sight, if you have no vision, if you're blurry, you can't successfully move forward like you want to. You're just going to hesitate because everything in you wants to see.
That's really powerful. And I can hear somebody saying, well, 70% of my body, but I only look with my eyes. So what does that got to do with my mind and the rest of me, right? But I know from research and studying that our brains and our bodies, our minds and our bodies are connected. They're interconnected, right?
Correct.
And so if you know anything about how vision actually works, we know that we don't really see the way that people think that we do, right?
Come on now.
It's not really a TV screen that our eyes are like a camera, like our eyes work that way. Our brain is really interpreting the signals that the waves are giving us, right?
Come on,
so
brother.
It's an interpretation, right? So that interpretation is waves, right? But if there are light waves and sound waves. And so words actually create pictures because the correlation of the words that we use, like if you know the story of Dr. Emoto with when he wrote words on water and froze it, and how the different crystals crystallize because of the words, right? So there's a frequency with the words that correlates to energy and light and vision, and so having that together is a powerful thing. Now, I know that there are people who are entrepreneurs saying, well, I came here for the tactics. What's this got to do with that, right? But there is a subsonic level at which we are all working. And a lot of times the awareness that we have or don't have is the thing that we can or cannot sense sometimes. Like, so sometimes we'll say, I just can't, I don't feel like I'm making progress.
Right.
I feel stuck. I feel like something is holding me back, but I don't know what it is. And what you're saying here is that on a certain level, right? So there's a practical level to writing your vision, but on another level, energetically, it also works to be able to clear through our system so that we're able to get that supercharge that we need to be able to move forward. Tell me, because you mentioned that in your story that you shared briefly, but can you talk about that feeling that actual shift that happened. You said you wrote your vision and now you started to feel more confident. You started to feel more clear. Can you
Right.
share a little bit more, maybe an example of how something specifically in your life shifted for you?
Right. So I was at that time, like I said, the time the passing of my father, I've been in the IT field, software developer, 20 plus years or whatever. So my focus was being employed
Mhm.
by, my employer. So I go to work, I'm doing what they say do, and I didn't really have any individual direction other than doing what they told me to do on the job. So
Mhm.
knowing that you're gifted, knowing that there's something out there that you're called to do, knowing that there's something out there bigger than you, but every day you go to work not doing that, the
Mhm.
shift came when my eyes opened and I became aware of my own uh, unique giftedness or contribution for the
Mhm.
world. And so
Mhm.
that's where the shift came. So it's like I still, I continue to work, but now it is my job is, and it's, what I do there is all for the alignment of the vision that I have. So all of a
Mhm.
sudden, my job has a whole new purpose, a whole new role in my life because of having a vision and knowing it doesn't just end with the job. It's like there's something
Yeah.
greater that the job is contributing to, which is that bigger vision. That was a huge shift. I go to work happy, because I'm funneling and channeling into the purpose that I have. So that was huge.
You make a great point because so we work with a lot of companies that have, you know, 100 employees, 5 employees, 25 employees. It doesn't really matter how many you have. One of the key elements that's missing in most companies is vision, right? I had a client who he's an executive leader in his team at his organization, and we were talking through some leadership things or whatever, and he said, well, he mentioned that he had reached out to his VP
Mhm.
and asked him, do we have a mission statement or a vision statement? And the VP said, yeah, we have one. Let me find it and send it to you.
That
Right.
right there.
That part right there. Right. So he said, she said, let me send it to you. She had to have her assistant send it to her so she could send it to him. So I showed you two things. And he said that when he got it, he realized this was the first time that he'd seen it, even though it had been developed 2 years ago.
Wow.
Right.
See?
He'd been working there for 7 years and had never seen a vision statement. And
Wow.
so what we find in a lot of companies is that not, even if there is a vision, most of the employees or the team doesn't know what it is, right?
Absolutely not.
So if you
Well, I was
go
gonna
ahead,
say
go ahead.
what and that's something I'm big about is that's the next evolution or the next piece is
Mhm.
aligning with the vision. So you write your vision, memorize it, get it in your spirit, whatever the case may be. But then there has to be a shift that takes place where you start to move priorities around and activities around that create a direct path to your vision. And
Right.
alignment is everything. We were just having a conversation. Same thing last night. And we were just talking about, she was talking to an HR person and they were talking about mission and vision and how the whole company, employees, everything is driven and led by that vision statement. And for an
Mhm.
executive or a visionary not to even know what their own vision, the question is, well, where are you going? What are you
Yeah.
aligning to? Where you're just fighting fires all day long. That's all you're doing. Busy
That's
work.
all you're doing. And what you do is you have chaos that is erupting internally that's keeping you from getting towards your goal. We started off talking about a person directly, and now we're talking about teams, right? But think about what you're doing. If you have a person who lacks vision, and then you
Yes.
multiply that across 10, 50,
Woo.
100 people, right? Think of how much lost energy is just being spewed around in your company
Man.
right? There's a movie that came out recently. I can't think of the name of it, but it's about a rowing team. All right. Um, and if you look at the crews in the Olympics, that they're on the rowing, right?
Right.
And so they have to all be rowing in this, not only in the same direction, but they have to be rowing at the same time on the
Yes.
same rhythm,
Same
right?
rhythm.
And that's so important that they have one person on the boat who actually doesn't have any oars, but their job is simply to call out the cadence, to call out the rhythm, to make sure that everyone is aligned. And what the
Ooh.
vision does is that the vision aligns everyone.
Yes.
So they're on the same rhythm, moving at the same pace, giving their all. And that's the inspiration that we need. Talk about, can you share some of the stories that you have seen from some of your clients,
right,
working with people, and the shifts that they've been able to make simply by being able to install a clear vision into their business or their life?
Well, besides, especially with some of the ladies, besides the tears, because you know, a lot of we walk around with this big vision or this big idea, you know, this thing in our head that we don't have words for. And it's bursting and just, oh my God, I know I'm here to do something. And it just weighs on you. And then when I sat down with her and gave her words to it, and she heard it, just tears, because it was like the pieces came together, formed a picture. She saw it and was able to sit back and say, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
And from that point, she just followed that and kept that in her head and just started building. I mean, like right now, you know, she has her successful dance studio. The kids are winning competition because that's what it was. She wanted to combine. She was a she went to an HBCU and she was like the dancing dolls. And she wanted to incorporate dance and singing and music into raising young girls up in life lessons. And so she's able to tie it all together. And man, it just watching her run is phenomenal.
One of the things that I love about that story, of course, there's the emotion behind it, right? But she could feel and sense that something was being unblocked. And part of that was kind of represented through the tears. And we can sense those things a lot of times when we're working on our business. We feel that lack of momentum. We feel like we're pushing a rock uphill.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, but the vision that when you're able to create that, and what I'm hearing you say is that it unlocked all these other opportunities and all these other possibilities for her, things that she might have had a longing for, might have been goals, right?
Yeah.
But didn't realize how she was going to be able to get there. Couldn't figure out why she was not able to connect the dots.
Yeah. Another story is when people get their vision statement, and I teach them how to basically have tunnel vision and block out all the noise and distraction and let that vision be it. You know, a lot of times they'll say, well, you know, I can't really focus. I got family, I got this, and then I can't forget about them. And so I always make sure to understand that your vision is big enough to grow, but narrow enough to focus. So the growth and the possibilities is built into the vision statement, but it also includes the people that you love. So if your vision is selfish, then focusing on your vision will leave people out. So I make sure that when we write that vision statement, it includes opportunity for those that are connected to you to be involved, to get the benefit, to understand the benefit and reap the benefit. And so one of the things that happens is once people get their vision statement, almost immediately things just come out of nowhere that lines up with their vision statement. They'll be like, wow, I just got this call, or I just got this opportunity just out of nowhere. And I was sharing with a client last night. Once you put it out there, a lot of times opportunities are already around you, but because of your focus, you don't see them. You're not even thinking about a certain thing, but it's there already. Kind of going back to vision. It's already there. Everything is already around us. But soon as you have a need for it, you'll see it.
Yes.
It'll just appear. And they're experiencing that time after time after time. Stuff just starts appearing. Like, wow, where'd that? Well, it was already there.
So there's a thing called the Baader-Meinhof phenomenon, which is exactly what you're talking about, right? So you notice, like, if you ever decided you wanted to buy a car, say you decided you wanted to buy a red Lamborghini, right?
Yep.
Right. Well, that's pretty rare, but let's say like a red Acura, right? But it could be a red Lamborghini, right? But you will notice that whenever you fixate on a particular type of vehicle, all of a sudden you start noticing all the kinds of vehicles that are like that. Oh,
Absolutely.
there's another one, and there's another one. There's one that I like that shade and that color. And so what we do is we don't realize how much information our brains are filtering out.
Yes.
Until we narrow our focus to one particular thing, and then we start calling that information in, right?
Yes.
And so the vision teaches our mind where to focus the energy so that we can start to be able to articulate that. And it's amazing to me how often I talk to, and I know you can say the same thing, how many times you will talk to someone, an entrepreneur, a leader, who is saying that they want to accomplish a certain goal, but they don't have a specificity around that goal.
Yes.
It's not like you said, your vision should be big enough to grow, but narrow enough to focus. And in reality, they haven't narrowed it down because they feel like they're going to exclude all these other opportunities.
Bro.
When in reality, what's happening is the opposite once you create that vision. Talk about that a little bit.
You know, so I use a framework called RAPID to help, clients create their vision statements into five pieces, 5 principles or 5 pillars to that. So it's reach, audience, pain, identity, and desired results. RAPID. So reach is how far, how wide do you really, 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 truly want to extend and impact the world? Like, what is that reach? Starting out, it's like if you know you're running the 100-yard dash or the 100-meter dash, and you see the finish line, you know how much energy or force to exert because you see the end or the outcome of the destination. So when you start out knowing how big you want to kind of go from the gate before you ever even get your LLC, when you know I want to be a global brand, coming out the gate, you know how much energy to exert. So that's the first piece. Know your reach. Then your audience, and kind of like to that point. And I ask the people, all right, so as you're starting your business, who is automatically attracted to you without you doing any work? Without you really putting in any effort, without you really like, I'm gonna go talk to this person, they automatically come to you. Just you at church, you at the library, you at the club, y'all already got that vibe. Know who that person is, because that's your core, that's your audience, really. And so when you're able to identify that audience and you start killing it with those group of people, they're going to tell people that's not even your core. To that point, they're going to tell people when you start making impact with your core group, like even if you work with only women, and then all of a sudden these women start to, Frederick really helped me out, man. He killed it. I don't necessarily, you might not work with men, but because the testimony from the females is so great, you're going to be like, well, hold up. That's the thing about narrowing in and focusing on your audience and being able to picture those people, because you can serve them at a higher level because you just vibe with them. You already connected. So that's really what happens.
I want you to finish the framework, but I just wanted to touch on that point. We have a process called target practice, where we help to kind of narrow in on the bullseye. One of the things I learned this from one of my coaches, Chad Oxtat. He talks about the bullseye process, right? Where the more you can narrow in, the more easy it is for you to own the whole board, right?
Ooh, yeah.
So a lot of times when you talk about audience, people are still being too broad. They may say women. Well, I help all women, right? But a woman who is 21 is not the same as a woman who's 45,
For
right?
sure. Different message.
A woman who is a freshman in college is different than a woman who's a senior in college.
For sure.
Because there's a difference there. So the more you narrow in on that audience, the more you can really be able to own that whole framework. I talk about it like the fact that sometimes people want to make shoes for every size, but there's enough people in the world who wear one size shoe that if you just focus on a size 10, if you just focus on a size 4 and only made shoes for that narrow an audience, you could still have $1 billion business, multi-billion-dollar business.
For sure.
And so you can always expand. You can go from size 10 to size 11 to size 12, up or down, right? You can do that. But the narrowing of the focus allows you to be able to serve people powerfully enough that they know that you are for them, right?
Right. Shows your expertise and your mastery.
Right. I love it. So we've got reach, we've got audience. What's the next element of rapid?
So then it's P stands for pain or passion or purpose. But definitely pain, like talking about the passion of Christ. So let's say an individual is they're a landscaper. They out there killing it. They do these yards and they come out there and they just make beautiful, like this immaculate. They chisel those lawns, the corners are tight. The yard is just green and plush and the bushes is just trimmed just right. And you look at them and you say, wow, they really got passion for doing landscaping. But then if you hear the story behind that is he grew up in the hood. They didn't have nice lawns. All they had were these raggedy lots with holes in them, rocks in them, old bottles, condoms, bricks. So they out there trying to play ball and they twisting their ankles and they got to avoid holes. And this young cat was wishing he had a place to play football. He would see it on TV, these nice green lush yards. And I've experienced that. Couldn't play kickball, couldn't play because they had no lots, no nice place. Yeah. So he decided, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to be a landscaper because I don't want these kids to grow up without having nice yards and nice places to play. So the pain of that drove the success in his business. So helping people tap into their pain, because most of us have unprocessed pain that we've experienced, and we're constantly making decisions from that pain that's unprocessed. So there's got to be a process to really understand, why are you passionate? Why do you really want to do this? Because you got to capture that energy and utilize that as fuel for those times when you just don't feel like putting in the work on your business. You just don't feel like it. But you got to, if you tapped in, you be like, oh, I don't really feel like it. But now all of a sudden you always feel like it because the excitement in you is so strong. It's so powerful. And the outcome that you want for people is burns in you so much. Your fuel gauge and your inspiration is like you stay tapped in. So that's pain. Does that make sense? And so helping people just capture that, like, what hurt you, bro? Sis, what hurt you? Like, why you out here grinding so hard? Oh, well, let me go ahead and tell the truth. Tap into that.
Well, I want to highlight something you said, because you make a really great point, right? Our unprocessed pain. And so a lot of times the thing that is holding us back in all of this is that we have not taken the time to process the hurt, the trauma, the past that has come to define us in many ways, right? We've allowed that pain to control us.
Yes.
and it can control us not by so much what we do consciously,
Right.
but what it is that what we avoid, right?
Ooh,
What we're not willing to do. I
man.
had a conversation with a client yesterday. We were talking about a framework for her being able to grow her business and where she could generate more leads, and so the activity that was required to do that. And
Yep.
she mentioned the fact that hitting that mark was creating anxiety for her. And therefore, because she'd had anxiety in the past, it was not something that she was comfortable with pushing into, right?
Right.
But that means that that's something that we need to challenge and to deal with to be able to
Yes.
overcome it, to be
Right.
able to push forward. Because how are you going to make this $2-3 million in the next year if you can't do the things that are required, and you can't do those things that are required because you're afraid of how you might feel? You're
Wow.
afraid of what happened to you in the past. You're afraid
Yep.
of the situation. So you don't trust yourself enough to push through. And so
Yep.
you're saying that we need to be able to sit with that, to process that pain, and then turn it into a passion and into a purpose that
Yes.
drives us forward. Is that what I hear you saying?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that I offer is not just the vision statement, but story development. So, like I talk about going from blaming to blooming, and from
Mhm.
excuses to execution, no longer
Mm.
blaming my dad for his absence and this is why I was this and this is why I was that if he would have been around. No, let me just do the
Mhm.
work. So everyone has a story that they're telling themselves. So let's pull that story out and make that part of your audience attraction process. So you
Mm.
tell that story about you being molested and abused, or you being cheated on, and all these different things, and then you tie that in to a story of triumph and overcome. Pair that with your vision statement. The people listening to your audience, that's immediate. They're gonna pick up on that and be like, "Ooh, I need to work with them. Ooh, I need to
Yeah.
hire them," because they
Yeah.
connect to that. So that's that story piece, most definitely. So yeah, pain, having that your pain story, understanding that will attract you and help you find your ideal audience as well.
All right, cool. I love it, man. Let's move to I. What is the
All
I
right.
in the rapid process?
All right. So I is identity. Who are you as a
Mhm.
brand? Who are you as an entrepreneur? Who are you as a company? Which again ties to your pain. So what kind of pain have you been through? That's going to attract you to your audience. Now let's decide, who are you? So, and I help, and we talk about terms of who are you by what you do. Are you a singer?
Mhm.
Are you a writer? Are you an organizer? Are you a leader? Are you a motivator? Are you a painter? Like, who are you? Let's tap in
Mhm.
to that identity tool. How do you see yourself? Are you a mogul? Are you a philanthropist? Like, look at yourself and define yourself, and
Mhm.
really tap into that so that when people come to need you, you can be like, well, I'm this, I'm a motivator, I'm a leader, I'm a philanthropist, I'm a blah, blah, blah. You can just rattle that off with confidence. And I find some clients, when I ask them, who are they? And they're like, I don't know. I just do it. But when you become conscious, and I make them sit with it, like say you are an author, you got
Mhm.
books in you, say you're an author. And then, I'll make them repeat it until they can say it with power, because that tells me they're shifting in their mind and actually believing and seeing themselves as an author. You are an author.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you, when you said that, here's what resonated for me, right? The fact that sometimes people don't know, and sometimes we forget,
Mm-hmm.
right? So sometimes there are things that we have done that we don't attach our identity to, but are actually valuable. And when you
Yes.
bring that out in the story, people start to see, oh, I can own this part of my identity too.
Come on
They
now.
think I have to be one thing, right? I can only be this. But in reality, I'm also this.
I'm
So
also
you may
this.
have written a book, but maybe people didn't buy it a lot. And so you didn't think of yourself as an author, but as an accomplishment that
Mm-hmm.
actually gives you more credibility. There are other elements or expertise or things that you have, right? You talk about the fact that um, you're in IT, right? You have an IT background. for that technology. But let's say you move away from that and you kind of, well, I'm not doing that anymore. But that's also a part of who you are and what you're capable of bringing to the table.
Yes.
And so to me, that kind of goes into, again, the bullseye, that you're able to narrow that focus even more. If you only worked with people in IT to help them create their clarity and vision, that would still give you a world of people to be able to work with. You can never work with them for the rest of your life, right? So
for sure.
Right. And so that just continues to help to clarify and empower. That's what resonated with me, because when you said that about an author, I think about the fact that sometimes I forget that I've written a book and I don't talk about it all the time. Right.
Yeah.
But that's an element of something that I've done. And so there's all these things as part of our identity and who we are and what we've done that sometimes we're not even confident enough or even cognizant enough to know or to own.
Yes. You know, and it's not even a lot of times, you know, I pull people out and taking them to their, you know, like, what did you imagine about yourself as a child? Because those things are key as well. Did you ever see yourself as, you know, a business owner or an entrepreneur? Did you ever see yourself as creating, you know, as a creator, on all those different things? And then all of a sudden the school system taught you out of creativity, and now all you are is science and math, you know, but forgetting that you have this whole creative side. So there are things that you've never done, but always believed that you could. We got to pull that out as well. Like, I always thought it, I always wanted to, but I just pushed it away. No, let's pick that up. What's that all about? Talk to me. Let's put that on the table. That's you, bro. That's you, sis. Come on, let's go. You know, no, I don't know. Yeah, I do know. Come on, put it on the paper. Let's go. You know, and give people and implant that faith into them. Like, those things are in you for a reason. That's not an accident. That's part of your DNA. And I got to help you own who you are. Never wrote a song in your life, but you're a songwriter. You're a songwriter. You've been wanting to write songs. You're a songwriter. Go ahead and write those songs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then the next thing is desired results. So this is really outcome driven or outcome inspired. So kind of to that thing, people got to understand the difference between a goal and a vision. A goal is checked off. Goal is that whole list of stuff. Like you said, I wrote a book, checked off. So once you write a goal, it's done, it's forgotten. And now you're looking for the next thing. A vision typically is big enough, so big, you never complete it. You don't get to check off a vision. The vision is passed down to prosperity. That's part of the legacy. So the vision lives on after you're gone. The vision lives on after you're gone. Somebody picks that up. Somebody picks up the work that you do. You left such a strong vision behind and such a strong legacy. Somebody's like, ooh, that resonates with me. And then they pick that up and they continue to. So what's the outcome when you solve the problem? What does that look like? What's the end result of you completing what you do? What's the picture? You know, what's that transformation? What's that end state? So that's the desired results that we talk about. And then working backwards from that outcome that you desire and bring things into alignment with that outcome that you see. And that's the 5 pillars.
The rapid framework. That's really, really powerful, Timothy. I appreciate you sharing that with us. This has been a great conversation, man. This has really been, I think, really, really valuable for anyone who's taking the time to watch any part of it, right? There's so many nuggets that you dropped here. How can people learn more about you? How can they connect with you to be able to understand how they can get their own vision statement, how they can start moving towards greater clarity in their lives and their business?
Sure. It's at The Clarity Doctor on all platforms. So Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, just put in at The Clarity Doctor. And you can also just go to my website, theclaritydoctor.com. That is there, and you can go schedule a free clarity session, which is about 15 minutes. Just sit down and we can chop it up. And in those 15 minutes, I'll give you as much clarity that you'll need just kind of starting off. And then if you want to work with me, you can definitely set up some time there, and I'll be glad to just help you shift. Experience transformation. I got lots of programs, online books. You can, get me alignment journal. I have a self, like if you don't necessarily, you might be a real strong, self-independent, self-driven person. You can get my toolkit, and it's $97, and you can go and build your own vision statement. And, if you want to reach out and have me critique it, that's fine as well.
And that's powerful. You've got a lot of tools to be able to help people to move towards greater clarity. And I want to affirm you for the work you're doing, and encourage anyone who's listening to this to be able to reach out and see if there's a way that Clarity Doctor Timothy Moore can support you in your journey.
Yes, absolutely. I'm ready. I got a Facebook group, Guarding Kingdom Vision. So yeah, definitely tools. Just connect with me.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So if you're on Facebook right now, then just head on over there and check out the Facebook group as well. Timothy, I appreciate it, man. So great. I know it's a little earlier there in Nebraska, but I appreciate you hopping on this morning and sharing your coffee with us and sharing your story about how you've been able to help people create more clarity and vision in their lives.
Man, likewise. I'm glad we connected. I'll be in Atlanta soon, so I'm definitely gonna hook up with you.
Absolutely, man. Let me know when you're here, and we'll grab some lunch or something, and
yes, sir.
And chop it up a little bit more.
For sure.
Awesome. Thanks to all of you who watched. This is a pop-up, so it wasn't scheduled. So you took time out of your day, your busy schedule, to kind of learn a little bit more alongside of us. And I'm glad that you were here. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share this with people that you think it was a valuable conversation. The way that you share it is a way for us to be able to grow. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever the case may be, we hope that you're following and supporting us as well. My name is Frederick Douglass Bussey. For my friend Timothy Moore, the Clarity Doctor. We'll catch you next time. Ever forward.
Peace. All right, y'all.